to Morning Baraka with myself, Ali Fadhil. Welcome to Tuesday, the 31st of October, 15th of Rabi' al-Thani. The time has just gone 10:33 a.m. here in the UK, and honestly, we've got a lot to get through today, so here's what's on offer. Kicking off today's show, we go slightly controversial as myself and sister Dua Makhzoumi discuss the role of women in Islam in this day and age. I then head to Dearborn and speak about the psychology of social media with Firas Allouch, a very interesting conversation on the hour. And once again, some interesting historical occasions to discuss today as we return with On This Day. So Tuesday, 31st of October, 15th of Rabi' al-Thani, we're balancing home and work duties for Muslim women first, then psychology of social media next, followed by On This Day, and that's what's on the menu today. Hi there and welcome back to the show. Seeking divine favor through the Ahlul Bayt is called intercession. The Ahlul Bayt, including figures like Imam Ali alayhi salam, Sayyidah Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, and the Imams, are considered exemplary models of piety, knowledge, and virtue in the Shia tradition. Their intercession is believed to provide believers with a means to draw closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seek forgiveness, and receive blessings. Now, Tuesday is a day recommended by the Imams to recite Dua Tawassul, a means to ask the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam's name by name for their intercession in drawing closer to ultimately Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of those Imams that we seek intercession of is Imam Zain al-Abidin, the best of worshippers. He has a detailed, step-by-step, day-by-day guide into connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So please, sit back and listen to the words of Imam al-Sajjad in the dua of Tuesday, and I'll see you in a bit.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الحمد لله والحمد حقه كما يستحقه حمدا كثيرا وأعوذ به من شر نفسي إن النفس لأمارة بالسوء إلا ما رحم ربي وأعوذ به من شر الشيطان الذي يزيدني ذنبا إلى ذنبي وأحترز به من كل جبار فاجر وسلطان جائر وعدو قاهر اللهم اجعلني من جندك فإن جندك هم الغالبون واجعلني من حزبك فإن حزبك هم المفلحون واجعلني من أوليائك فإن أولياءك لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون اللهم أصلح لي ديني فإنه عصمة أمري وأصلح لي آخرتي فإنها دار مقري وإليها من مجاورة اللئام مفري واجعل الحياة زيادة لي في كل خير والوفاة راحة لي من كل شر اللهم صل على محمد خاتم النبيين وتمام عدة المرسلين وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المنتجبين وهب لي في الثلاثاء ثلاثا لا تدع لي ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا غما إلا أذهبته ولا عدوا إلا دفعته ببسم الله خير الأسماء بسم الله رب الأرض والسماء أستدفع كل مكروه أوله سخطا وأستجلب كل محبوب أوله رضاه فاختم لي منك بالغفران يا ولي الإحسان.
Welcome back, dear viewers, to Morning Baraka, exclusively live on Imam Hussein TV 3. Now, Muslim women, like many others, face a unique set of challenges when it comes to balancing their home and work duties. Cultural and religious expectations can often place additional pressure on them to fulfill traditional roles as homemakers and caretakers, while also striving for success in their professional lives. Now, striking this balance can be particularly challenging as they navigate the need to observe religious practices and dress codes, which may differ from, you would say, workplace norms. Now, additionally, societal stereotypes and biases can limit their opportunities and advancement in the workforce. Nevertheless, many Muslim women are breaking barriers, challenging stereotypes, and finding innovative ways to harmonize their roles as mothers, wives, and professionals. Their resilience, determination, and determination essentially to serve is a testament to their ability to overcome these challenges and succeed in both spheres. So it's quite I wouldn't say a controversial topic, but it's a topic that does need a bit of in-depth discussion. So I've brought in Sister Dua Maghzoumi. So Sister Dua, welcome to the show. And I guess first and foremost, what I'd love to understand is your role, not only at home, but your role as an Islamic lecturer, because you've done loads of lectures both on this channel and of course you've spoken publicly as well. So how does your role as an Islamic lecturer impact your responsibilities at home?
To be honest, I like multitask, and this is something like I think women are great at, especially at home. And like even science has proven like women are greater at home multitasking than men. So I even homeschool my kids, so they're always with me. So what I'll do is I have a list of things I need to do. So I'll have a schedule of like how their day will look like. I'll have a list of the home chores I'm going to do. And then meanwhile, like I'll have a plan of the ayat Qur'aniyya I need to understand and research about, a hadith I need to translate, topics. So like I'll give you a brief example of how a typical day would look like, but not always, but you know. So like say for example, they'll wake up in the morning, they have breakfast. So that will take them time. So I'll sit on my laptop, I'll like do some research or whatever. You know, by the time they're done, I'll get their curriculum, I'll teach them their math, their English. When they're doing their exercises, I'm back on the computer. And then I know lunch is soon, so I get to the kitchen, like maybe put like chicken in the oven, food in the oven. And I'll come back, I'll help them, and I'll, you know, stuff like that. And even like when I rehearse, especially today, or like, when you give a hadith, people don't search the hadith themselves. They'll just tell you evidence, proof. So that's like more pressure. I have to memorize the page. I have to memorize the book. So while I'm doing chores, I'll actually do that. So like I'll write it down, or I'll have my phone, I'll memorize it, and I'm washing the dishes and I'll repeat it and repeat it. So like I'll find time with doing chores and with rehearsing. It's more stressful. It's not easier how it was before having a family. But yeah.
So I was going to say it's a very hands-on, kind of very proactive role in the sense that you might be doing one activity, but your mind is thinking, okay, in the next half an hour or an hour, I've got to do this activity, because if I don't, then my responsibilities at home might differ. So what advice do you have then for other female Islamic lecturers, or women, not just Islamic lecturers, but any women who want to pursue a career, but managing their roles at home and their careers? What tips would you give them?
The first advice I would actually give is family comes first. I know a lot of people, they're dedicated to their career, but it's sometimes if you don't give that time as a mother to the family, you break that bond, and the family, you know, it becomes like, even scientifically, they'll tell you like, the family will be broken, like there's a lot of corruption, and like so I kind of, the advice I would give is the first thing I do is I focus on my family. And then when I can, like today, I don't do a lot of public speaking in public because it's not more flexible with my family and schedule.
Sahih.
And my kids are younger.
Yeah.
So like, because Imam Hussein TV channel, they're like more flexible with the schedule. So
Yeah.
I'll find time where like, this is my day off.
Yeah.
And my day off from being with the kids is being at the TV channel.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, but when like I get invited to places and like you have to be at that time, at that time it doesn't suit my family, it doesn't
Right.
suit my schedule.
Right.
And my kids are more like younger, so like under 5, so they need me.
Right.
So I actually say, inshallah, in future, maybe I'll be able to. So family comes first. You know, sometimes you see people where they're Islamic public speakers, and then you'll hear people say, you know, look, she is a lecturer, but she doesn't teach her kids. Her daughters don't wear hijab. Or look at this public speaker, but his son, for example, doesn't know nothing about Islam.
Yeah.
It's because they're so dedicated to their career, but the first family is so important.
Right.
So usually as a mother, I find it like, you know what, if I ever find like my kids need me, is like them first.
Okay.
And then it's like, you know, I'll fix it.
Yeah, so I guess it eases up as they grow and become a bit more self-sufficient. But right now they're very much reliant and dependent on you.
Yeah.
So okay, that's your responsibilities with them. How do they essentially? How does the family support you in you pursuing your career? So, for example, husband, kids.
Yeah,
and stuff.
alhamdulillah, my husband's very supportive. Like for example, I think during Ramadan we had, me and Sister Sayda, during the month of Ramadan, we had to do 6 episodes in one day. And each episode was like 40 minutes.
Wow.
So that was the day that I was off. Like, so basically I came back home, he cooked food. Yes, the house was like messed up because of the kids, but
it's allowed to be every now and then. It's okay.
Yeah, but he cooked food, for example, and settled the kids, and he actually heated water like for the boils, like go take a shower, because you know the lights make you in the studio so hot.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's very supportive.
Yeah.
Likewise, my kids as well. Like I'll tell them, if you guys let me do this lecture or this interview, I'm gonna buy you a toy. So they're very like supportive. Yeah.
Fantastic. Do you travel internationally?
I haven't done that with children, no.
Okay.
No.
No, as in terms of public speaking, have you traveled internationally?
I've never
or was
done
just
it,
mainly-
no,
okay.
yeah.
Fantastic. So I guess, you know, in terms of specific Islamic principles that guide the roles and responsibilities of women in the home, how do you apply them into your life? Because the question is, do you believe there are specific Islamic principles that guide the roles and responsibilities of women in the home? Because of course Islam has a blueprint of what a woman's role should be, and what a man's role should be, and we'll get on to, I guess, whether that's outdated or not. But the point is, the guideline that we have already, how do you apply them in your life?
You know, if you actually look in Sahif al-Sajadiyya to Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein Zain al-Abidin, the Risalat al-Huquq, the rights of the wife to her husband, the husband to his wife, you would realize that the only thing Islam gives the wife his role is to actually satisfy her husband and have good relationship with her husband, good akhlaq and stuff like that. And the majority of the laws and the rules and everything, and this is something people don't know because they mix it up with cultural.
Yep.
You know, Islam is something and cultural is something else. So it's his responsibility to do everything, to support financially, even the kids, even if she breastfeeds, he has to pay her for that.
Yeah.
So if you would realize that they have so much rules as men, and this is why you find in the hadith that Ahl al-Bayt, they say, you know, Rahamallahu imra'an, may Allah bless a woman who supports her husband.
Okay.
Why? Because they have so much responsibilities. So
as in the man has a lot of responsibilities.
yes,
Okay.
for Islamic rules.
Yeah.
But how we do it is like, because women are staying at home, and we choose to stay at home because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted the woman to be like, you know, a queen, like a princess, you know, like you're the one who's supporting her, you're the one. If she chooses to work, Islam doesn't prevent that.
Of course.
Within the Islamic legitimate rules, you know, you don't do something haram in the job. It's like a job that's suitable for a Muslim woman.
Absolutely.
But the whole choice, this is why we actually do chores. It's not because Islam told us to do chores. It's because we're just sitting at home.
Yeah.
So might as well we'll just, you know, cook and clean and serve. In my particular marriage, it was never like, this is your rules and this is my rules. This is your huquq, you have to do this to me. It was like, no, whenever, you know, for example, like when we first got married, he had like a travel agency. It wasn't really doing well. So he closed that down, and I went to Canada to give birth. So when he came, I was like, here, this is my Canadian bank account. This is all my savings. Support us. Likewise, when I gave birth, I had a really horrible birth that I couldn't clean, I couldn't cook. I wasn't doing none of these. And he would come home, he would cook and clean and help me. So basically, yes, there are huquq, but we never did that. We're kind of like, whenever you need my back, I'm there. Whenever I need your back, you know, you're there. So that's the kind of thing that Ahl Bayt alayhi salam did, like Fatima Ziyara, Amir al-Mu'mineen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. On that note, you know, with living in the West, the cost of living, for example, is a lot higher. There's a lot of pressure on the man to deliver. You know, you mentioned quite a personal story on your husband. You know, looking at one business, maybe not working, looking at another one. Is there more pressure now on the woman to start providing and actually looking for a career to support her husband, and how much does that have an effect on the overall family moving forward?
I don't find it, because we're born in the West, we're raised in the West, I don't find it as pressure on the woman more than the man. I'll tell you why. Because women are easy to find jobs today more than men. For example, you'll have like online teaching, you'll have online courses you can do at home. Working from home after COVID, it's been a lot. Yeah, you're able to find a lot of job and flexibility, where men sometimes, like, that job doesn't suit them. You know, we can sit at home and like multitask, but the man would never do that at home. It's like, I need an office, I need to be out from the house. So I kind of find it's really nice that we're able to help, and that the opportunities for women are more like flexible for her to raise a family.
Yeah.
Especially like after COVID, you'll see a lot of women working from home, and that will help. Now, the whole reason for that was like the system that was happening, like the rise of everything, is because they wanted the woman to go out and work.
Okay.
That was the whole why, so that the children can go to school, and that the woman doesn't give much time to the children, so that they can teach the children the way they want them to be taught. So that was like a whole plan if you look at it from the outside.
Right.
So if we're, alhamdulillah, Muslim women smarter, we're like, yeah, we'll work from home, we'll do part-time, we'll do teaching, we'll do here, we'll do there. We'll help the man, but we'll still raise our children.
Side note, you know, you mentioned earlier in the interview that, you know, you homeschool. Any particular reason why?
Yeah, because of the public education. And even like the Islamic school, I saw the episode yesterday with
Dr. Sam Attar, yes.
Yeah, so I was like, that makes sense. Yeah, that's one reason. There's not a lot of schools. They're quite pricey, quite expensive. So I was like, that's the best reason, yeah.
Right. So kind of moving on into a more, you know, the typical role of a woman as described in Islam, as we mentioned earlier. There's a blueprint of what a woman's responsibilities are. Do you think they are outdated?
I don't think, I'll never think, and the reason why, I'll say it scientifically, because sometimes you say Islamically, people don't agree with. Scientifically, it's proven, and psychology-wise, that the mother that spends more time with the family and the children from the age 0 to 5, they have a very great, stable well-being than those that their mothers are absent at work. And the reason why is because the mother nurtures them, that bond that they connect together. And even studies have found out that to children that they're always with the mother, and the mother's a stay-at-home mom, they are smarter at school, they do well at school. And the reason why is because of the meals that she'll cook. She's always there, she's always supportive, the house that she provides for them. So no, I find it like, even if someone wants to say like it's outdated, it's like, hey, science is proving the difference. Psychology is proving that it's so important for the mother to actually be there with her children, to be at home, to be present. So, and subhanAllah, when Islam sets rules, Islam knows it scientifically before science actually proves it. Yeah,
we've seen many instances where Islam says something, and to the layman or even to the scientist, it doesn't make sense. But actually, a couple of years later, they have a discovery that, oh, actually, maybe Islam was right, or the Quran was right. So, yeah, I guess it will all make sense. I think it'll be very interesting to find out in the next 10 years, especially after COVID, and the role of a mother and staying at home. In 10 years, what are our next generation going to be like? Which should be interesting.
You know, this is what Fatima Zahra alayhi salam did. Like, there's narrations where she would do tahn al-raha, she would like grind and mince wheat, and then she's breastfeeding al-Hassan or al-Hussein, and she does the house chores where she doesn't have to do all that. And she's the daughter of Rasulullah, so she knows the rules more, but she's doing it out of love to Amir al-Mu'mineen, and he would come in and he would see her. So he would tell her, Ya Fatima, I'll do that, go breastfeed. So it's kind of Ahlul Bayt, that what they teach us will never be outdated. And years down the line, you'll see how science will find out that that's actually, it's more important.
I mean, look, there's not many examples that we can read about when it comes to the relationship between Fatima Zahra and Imam Ali. There's only a few instances, the one that you just mentioned now. But I guess they serve its purpose in understanding the mindset of Imam Ali alayhi salam and Fatima Zahra, especially when it comes to their home duties. Now, moving, I guess, again, to this day and age, there are those that say that a woman's place, not actually a woman's place, but there are those that say women shouldn't be, and obviously with all due respect to your career, but they shouldn't be on TV. They shouldn't be speaking out in public. Their faces shouldn't be shown on TV because they should be protecting their chastity. These are not my words; these are words that I've heard. What do you say to this particular statement?
The funny part is they don't say it to those who work in hospitals as dentists and nurses and teachers, and they're actually out there more interacting with men one-on-one, and you never hear that attack. And you would want a doctor as a woman, because a lot of women would need a doctor as a woman. You would need a teacher as a woman. You would need a dentist as a woman. I'll give them an answer that, yes, the best thing of a woman is to be at home, and a man doesn't see her and she doesn't see a man. But there were times where Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, she had to go out. Right. History doesn't really mention much of her being in public. Okay. But when Islam was in need of her, she went out. She gave the speech. Likewise, Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, narrations don't mention she's always out. But when Islam was in need of her, who spoke in Kufa? It was her. Because Islam was in need of her. Why not Imam Zain al-Abidin? Because no, Islam was in need of the woman to speak out with her hijab, with her chast, with her modesty. Who spoke in Majlis ibn Ziyad in Sham? It was Lady Zainab alayhi salam. It was her role. So it really teaches, it teaches us that sometimes the woman should be at home, but there will be an era where she has to face what's been attacked. I'll give you an example. What's the weapon today against Islam and religion is social media. The media is the message, right? So the owners of this world who are controlling this world are using social media to target the woman, to target her as, not being, modest, her hijab, making her feel the materialistic world is so important, and spreading corruption. Because if you can break a woman, you can break a generation, you can break a whole, society. So how are we going to face that if our daughters, their influencers, are on social media? So we come on social media with our hijab, with our modest, we speak about Islam, about Ahlul Bayt, we make them love Islam and Ahlul Bayt and understand it more, so that the woman can actually feed her mind and her soul instead of just thinking, cosmetics and makeup and all that things are important. No, there are other, people on social media who are promoting the proper hijab. We're not doing any, things outside of being chaste and dressing makeup or colorful clothing. No, we're here with the abaya, Zainabiyya, and we're here to speak about Ahlul Bayt, nothing else. Absolutely. And to bring the issues that we have in society today and relate it to Ahlul Bayt, so that we can realize that the key to all our solutions are Ahlul Bayt. So who would you choose? The one who's promoting for your daughter about makeup and influencing other things, or the hijab one? So absolutely. That's my answer.
I think what you mentioned in the beginning of what you said in terms of, do we look at doctors or nurses or dentists, do we look at them differently? And they're always seen as very noble, very honorable. The fact that, they're going outside and they're spending their life trying to save people. And the question is asked, what are our sisters doing? They're not exactly, they're going outside trying to tell people about Islam. So it should equally be as honorable, maybe even more honorable for a woman to go outside and speak on behalf of the religion. Because there are a lot of, you're right, social media is out there and there's a lot of attack on the role of a woman and how oppressed they may be. But if a woman comes out in a very good hijab, very modest hijab, to come out and say, look, this is me, I am a woman, I am, I'm a Muslim. However, these are the teachings of Islam. So I totally commend you on your efforts.
Thank you so much.
But thank you so much for coming to the office. To the studio. I appreciate it. It was a short interview, taken out of your schedule and away from your kids. But thank you very much for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. So that was dua maghzoom. I always get it. Is it Makhzoumi. Sister Dua Makhzoumi with a very, very insightful insight into the role of a woman who has a career in public speaking, but also is responsible to her duties at home. So, up next on Morning Baraka, we have, I'm very interested, and I'm sure all of you are, with cell phones, because the psychology of social media with Firas Allouch, all the way from Dearborn, is up next. So see you very, very soon.
Have a duty towards the preservation and the propagation of the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Indeed, one of the best ways to work towards the reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajul sharif is through promoting the values of Karbala. Imam Hussein Media Group is the only Shia television network that broadcasts globally in 5 different languages: Arabic, Farsi, Turkish, Urdu, and English. We are appealing to the lovers of Imam Hussein alayhi salam worldwide to support the channel such that it may continue its global operations. Imam Hussein Media Group is seeking 1,000 partners to pledge to a £14 contribution per month. This will allow the channel to sustain its operating costs as we continue to spread the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in multiple languages across the globe. You be a part of this great legacy and donate today. You can pledge in 2 ways. www.imamhussein3.tv/donate will take you direct to our donation page where you can pledge monthly. Or you can call or WhatsApp us on 0044 793 9917163. Imam Hussein TV, your gateway to Karbala.
Welcome back, dear viewers. We had a fantastic conversation with Dua Makhzoumi regarding the role of women in Islam and balancing a career. Now, a very, very important topic to speak about today. The unfortunate Shia genocide in Parchana is a deeply troubling and often overlooked tragedy that has left a scar on the hearts of victims and their families. Parchana, a region that has historically been home to a significant Shia Muslim population, has witnessed a series of violent attacks and massacres in recent years. The perpetrators of these atrocities, often motivated by sectarian hatred, have targeted innocent Shia Muslims with brutal efficiency, leaving countless lives shattered and communities in absolute mourning. What makes this tragedy even more distressing is the alarming lack of global coverage and attention. The world's media outlets and international organizations often seem to turn a blind eye to the plight of the Shia community in Parchana. Their suffering remains hidden from the international stage, overshadowed by more prominent global issues. The lack of coverage and acknowledgement of this crisis not only perpetuates the sense of isolation felt by the victims, but also allows the perpetrators to continue their actions with relative impunity. In the face of this silence, it is imperative that the international community comes together to shed light on the Shia genocide in Parchana. These innocent lives deserve to be remembered, and justice must be served. The world cannot afford to ignore the systematic violence and discrimination faced by the Shia community in Parchana any longer. Humanitarian values and the principles of justice and equality should compel us to raise our voices, provide aid, and support those who are suffering in silence. By doing so, brothers and sisters, dear viewers, we can work towards a more inclusive and a just world where no community has to endure such horrors in obscurity. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to alleviate the pain on those who are suffering around the world, specifically in Parchana, and it's also the Shias who are suffering genocide not only in Parchana, but also Hazara and many other different regions as well. And that was the 2-minute reflection. Now, we move on to the psychology of social media, because it's a fascinating and multifaceted field that delves into the intricate ways in which human behavior, emotions, and cognition interact with online social interactions. Now, these platforms provide a stage where individuals seek social validation through likes, comments, and shares, influencing their self-esteem and self-worth. Now, there's a lot to discuss when it comes to the psychology of social media, like, for example, fear of missing out, i.e. FOMO, engaging in social media to stay updated and connected, curating personas presented online, and instant gratification of notifications, for example. There's a lot more to discuss. However, I've got filmmaker, photographer, and founder of KeepCreating.media, Firas Allouch from Dearborn, Michigan, on the line to help me give an insight into this topic. Firas, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic to have you. Thank you for being on the show. So firstly, tell us about you. What do you do? What's your passion?
I'm a photographer, filmmaker since at a very young age, so probably around 13, 14. I ended up studying media arts and studies. I graduated from Wayne State University here in Detroit. And now, after a lot of like filmmaking work, and I was at one point a video specialist at Ford Motor Company. Now I found in 2020 we started Keep Creating, which is a contemporary creative media agency based here in Michigan, where we help businesses and brands create content for social that works for them, in order to like kill all the traditional media that is like, that has been like overpriced, and just like help other businesses, raise your voice and clarify their messaging better to help them raise awareness about their brands and whatnot, and all this stuff.
Yeah. Inshallah. Okay, fantastic. So, in terms of social media, Firas, if we just focus on social media for now, I mean, I know that we have some topics that we discussed before we came on air, but how have you seen the development of social media in your lifetime experience working in the media?
Mm-hmm. So things have been very interesting in the past, maybe I would say 10 years. So I grew up on TV, I grew up about like watching TV for entertainment, and then even for news, it was like TV was like kind of the hub for us to start getting all of our information. And at one point in my life, I remember it was like 2016, 17, I started getting into the idea of like modern media. I remember I was studying more about it, and then I started understanding like there's something called modern media.
Yeah.
And what does that actually mean? And I digged into it and started understanding more into it. And modern media is obviously the non-traditional media of things. Traditional media is TV, billboards, like radio ads and radio stations, magazines, all the stuff. But what is modern media really? And it's more of like having more like internet involved in everything that you do, using more of like the platforms that people put up, so we can use.
Yeah.
I remember in 2016 or 2015, Facebook changed one little thing in its platform. Yeah. And it's auto-playing videos on Facebook. So I'm not sure if you remember, but we used to click on the video in order to watch.
I do.
It.
Yeah,
so
I
we
do.
had to click a play button to watch. Yeah. And at one point, they changed everything to like autoplay. And this was like I don't know how many people actually like see the actual difference that happened, but people started watching 50% more videos than before. What? And more on that.
Just by pressing a button.
Yeah. So you're just scrolling through Facebook, and now you're seeing the videos play instead of instead of just, instead of you deciding that you want to watch this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of if you think about it psychologically, Facebook is not asking you to click the button. It's just telling you, here's the video that you need to watch.
Yeah.
And you start watching it, and that brings you to the point of how important the first 3 seconds of a video are, all the stuff. While before it was more about the thumbnail and the title and all this stuff.
Yeah.
The other part was more of now I don't, like, sometimes because the video is already playing, I don't even need audio. And that's where Al Jazeera actually took a big advantage of this, where they released AJ Plus, which is one of the most revolutionary, I would say, media content on the internet, where they changed everything to this. They started I'm sure you're familiar with AJ Plus.
Yeah.
When AJ Plus started, now this started, and now this the page. There's a lot of pages that started coming on Facebook that are based in this form, just like mostly music news and having like titles on it. And people started using it in a lot of ways. Not only it didn't end up only in news. There's this the 5-minute craft thing.
Yeah.
So then you start also like seeing like how to use a certain thing in 5 minutes in order to save some time and whatnot. So this really got stuck into my head. Like, okay, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
They are utilizing something called citizen journalism, which is Ali right now in London. He'll take a video and we'll use it in our news just because he's there. We don't need a reporter now to take the videos for us. And this was like so revolutionary. I don't think a lot of people were actually seeing it like deep into what it's actually doing.
Yeah.
So I doubled down on it,
Yeah, look, absolutely. Look, if you don't mind me asking, I had a look at your Instagram profile, and I noticed a range of different topics in and around kind of like social media. There are deep, certain psychological topics that you cover. One of them that really interested me was media and culture. And you mentioned earlier how the culture has now suddenly changed from me wanting to watch a video to then subconsciously being kind of thrown at me without me really deciding if I want to watch the video or not. So how has that suddenly changed in terms of the media and how we consume the media, and how does it really dictate our reality for us, if you don't mind?
There's a like one of my favorites in understanding media. His book is actually called Understanding Media. He's a Canadian philosopher named Marshall McLuhan. And Marshall stated once, and some people say it's not him, but it's kind of the same concept. He said, "We build the tools, and then the tools build us. We are designed by what we have designed."
Yeah.
And if you dig deep into what this actually means, it's more about, okay, we built the smartphone.
Yeah.
But now the smartphone is building the way we think.
Yeah.
We are designed by what we have designed. And it's like, this is nothing bad or good. That's what I like to make sure people understand. This is just a way of seeing the world, I guess. The way of understanding how media affects our culture. Like we started our phones. Our phones are now have cameras, better cameras.
Yeah.
This is definitely gonna affect the way we're taking videos. This is definitely gonna affect how many videos are we gonna have online that people are gonna be posting, especially what you're seeing these days. Everyone has a phone. We're using these phones to our advantage. The other side of it is that once we put out, I don't believe that media is a reflection of our culture, how other people make you feel it is.
Okay.
Media creates our culture.
Right.
And like, you know, in certain movies or shows or what even news, and especially what we're seeing today, they tell you like this is a reflection of reality.
Yeah.
His news in a way that fits his propaganda. And
Yeah.
I spoke recently about this, and propaganda is not a bad word. Everyone's practicing propaganda, which is not, it's not a bad thing. You know, bad propaganda is, lying is.
Yeah.
So news, shows, movies, TVs, they're not reflecting our culture. They are creating it.
Right.
That's how media companies and outlets want the world to be. That's why they're making it like that.
Right.
So it just I'm not saying this is a good or a bad thing. Again, this is just another way, or I think is the only way to look at how
Yeah.
media is being consumed these days.
Yeah. I mean, again, one of the other posts that you had on your social media feeds, specifically Instagram, Firas, was talking about producing content, and you talked about ego versus culture, and how certain new content creators will focus on their ego rather than focus on the value that they can bring to the media consumer. Tell us a bit more about this particular idea.
This thing is coming from the idea of every brand or business or even an organization. They want to make they want to make the whole story about them. They want to make the whole story about, they think they are the heroes of the story.
Yeah.
But the thing is, whatever you are, whatever you fit in, either like a small business, big business, or just an organization or a nonprofit, you need to act like the guide in that story. You are the helper in that story. You're helping me. Like if I'm watching you, Ali, I need to gain value from you.
Right.
You know, if you want to always talk about like how many people you have or the views on your show, it's not gonna get me anything. It's not the value I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is like how I'm going to gain and benefit from the conversation you're having and all this stuff. So what I'm trying to help people understand, and that the sun doesn't revolve around you. More that I want you to be more valuable to people. People are watching you because they want to get something. So if you're not giving them that thing, it's just not going to be worth it.
Yeah. So how do you work on kind of value produced content, which is valuable for
So when I sit down
the consumer?
with some of my clients, I tell them like, okay, what do you have in mind? What is the content we're trying to make? You know, and of course sometimes they kind of make it about them. Not that they have bad intentions about it. They just don't know, because for the longest time, people have been creating content that's only about them. So I tell them like, okay, let's change things up. Let's like, where's the value here? What are you giving to this person? What are you giving to this person? Why would people watch that? You know, so there's certain needs for people, and you need to fill those needs in order to make it like, you know, worth it for people. For you to watch. At least you can get some views.
Yeah. No, I agree. So looking further on then, some advice for the youth who are looking for careers in, and I don't know if I can call it social media, but should the youth look into careers into content creation, Firas?
When I first really started, my parents did not get it. You know, they were like, "What are you trying to do?" I mean, alhamdulillah, my parents are like, they were not as like, you know, pushy as you might think. They didn't get it. Like, I would say they didn't actually believe in what I'm getting into, which I understand. But I kept pushing and trying my best to create what I really wanted to create. You know, alhamdulillah, I am the person I wanted to be when I was 13. So
Absolutely.
and I can't be more fulfilled now. But but it's like I see a lot of people now trying to get into photography or filmmaking, content creation, YouTube, all this stuff, and I truly support that a lot. Like you definitely need to be more involved in media, and this is
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I mean, if you wanted to provide a step-by-step guide, a very quick step-by-step guide into becoming a content creator, what would you recommend, Firas?
So a lot of people are against school,
Yeah.
going to film school or going to college for it or whatnot, all this stuff. I I can tell you, like I probably didn't learn a lot, like the technicalities. I did not learn from school.
Right.
I don't think I did. In my first photography class, I was able to give a class, and I did
Yeah.
give some sessions because the teacher liked me a lot. So I was like, yeah, let's just do it.
Wow.
But the thing is, school forces you to create projects, and this is the biggest deal. You can come and tell me like, hey, school, like you know how it is now with all the youth. School is not important. It's not as important. Like we don't need to do all of this. But I don't think like if you have the discipline to do all the projects the school is going to get you into, okay, don't go to school. You can
Yeah.
go learn everything yourself because you can. Don't go to school and do it yourself. I think school helped me a lot in that term. It helped
Fair.
me create the projects I wanted. I have a certain set of projects in my portfolio. I was able to understand some media theories, and this is the reason I have a lot of information about media.
Yeah.
Without school, I don't know how interested I'll be in something like this because no one's like, I don't know if I'm gonna ever buy a book to read about media if it wasn't
Yeah.
for that. Because so so a lot of people are not into it, which is fine. I'm not saying it's a bad thing as long as you have the discipline and the consistency of creating more projects, putting more into portfolio, understanding more about how everything works,
Yeah.
so you can get into it. So a step-by-step plan would be understanding more about what do you want to be, which is very hard, and you need some
Yeah.
time because in our field you can end up an actor, you can end up more of a just a cinematographer, which was what I was going into the most.
Yeah.
You can like directing a lot. You can be an editor. You can be an animator. You can be a motion graphics artist. You can be a bunch of all the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's gonna take some time to discover what you actually want. Okay, I'm saying years.
Yeah.
And after practicing, creating projects, and doing this and doing this, and discovering what other options do you actually have to work with.
Yeah.
So like it's more of just practicing and staying consistent with it if you actually like it a lot.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And Faraz, just for time, lastly, you again, I had some extensive research on your Instagram profile, and there were some recommendations on things like Threads, an app, many other apps as well. So, what are the latest apps that you can recommend, be it social media or not social media, things that could be useful to viewers?
Yeah, I mean, the big three, uh, or maybe now the big two because Facebook is out of place. But I would say Facebook Reels are doing amazing in terms of Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook Reels are the best part about it. There's so much engagement, so much reach. They're trying to push it as much as they can. Um, and especially if you link your Instagram to your Facebook, you can share every reel you post to Facebook, which is also going to benefit the Facebook community.
Right.
We just need to understand that it's a different audience too. It's an older audience. Um, Instagram, on the other side, is more of like it's kind of like going through a transformation now,
Right.
which is a good. I mean, it's been going through the transformation since TikTok started.
Yeah.
Um, Instagram has been the game. I think it's one of the hardest platforms to create content on these days because of how many things there is on it now. So in terms like Instagram now likes quality, likes having more valuable stuff. There's so much content being put out on it, so the competition is actually very real.
Wow.
So keeping along with Instagram is kind of like it's not an easy task these days.
No.
And I'm sure you saw one of my interests, and it's more about the interest graph versus the social graph.
I did.
And this is what Instagram changed since the rise of TikTok, because TikTok is all based on interests. If Ali likes cats, he's gonna see more videos about cats, you know, and TikTok's gonna see you how long are you watching these videos for, how you're interacting with them, are you engaging with them or not, all your information, you know, it's all laid down. Like, this is Ali's profile, those are the hashtags he likes and watches. And of course AI is actually helping TikTok with a lot of the algorithm, because they're able to detect, even if there's no hashtag or there's no caption, they're able to detect what's in that video, you know?
Absolutely.
So Instagram before was more based on the social graph. If we follow each other, we'll see each other's posts. If I follow you, you follow me. I see your post, you see my posts. If we don't follow each other, there's no way we're gonna see our posts.
Yeah.
But now, no. Now, if I'm interested in Ali Fadhil's show, I'm gonna be seeing more of this show pop up on my feed just because they know I like it.
Now, do you do you have to like a certain post for them to suddenly think, oh, this is what we should push out to him? So how does it work then?
No. So first, what people need to understand is that algorithms take a lot of time to develop.
Right.
And TikTok is way ahead of Instagram. And that's exactly why a lot of people enjoy TikTok way more than they enjoy Instagram. Because TikTok is giving them actually what they like. If I just watch a video, if I watch like, let's say you posted this interview, our interview on TikTok. You split it into like 5 parts.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna put it out there. And I watched one part. I did not like it. I did not comment. I just watched the whole thing.
Okay.
Okay. Or probably I watched like 70% of it. TikTok takes a note. Oh.
I am the partner of the sun, for he bows his head each night, so I may breathe. I am the resplendent sterling silver orb, accompanying the earth in unwavering loyalty. I come out at night to guide your steps. I listen to the lonely who share their secrets with me. I am the object of fascination, the cause of many a sleepless night of serenading poetry in my praises. I play hide and seek with you, sometimes hiding behind a cloud-like veil, sometimes reigning like the matriarch of the skies. I master the oceans, making them rough then tranquil. My sirens call to them just as apparent in mankind. Maybe that is why, when people fall in love, they sometimes call that person after me. Even I have admired such beauty. The most beautiful person I ever gazed upon was a man called Abbas, the one who introduced himself on the battlefield as the moon of the house of Hashem. At first,